Hey guys, making a video about how to pick stages as Falcon. And a lot of people have been asking me like, hey, how do I know what stages to pick? Like, what are the best stages? And before I jump into like talking about all the stages, FD, Battlefield, Dreamland, Stadium, Yoshi's, and Fountain of Dreams, I want to really stress that current day and age, it's a lot about like playstyle more than like like saying this stage is good no matter what or bad no matter what, except for maybe Fountain of Dreams. But anyways, yeah. So when I go through all the stages, I wanna talk about like the dynamics and how it can be good for like certain playstyles and bad for like other ones, and that's what I really want to again stress. It's really nowadays about playing to your strengths first, and a close second for picking stages is like exploiting your opponents, like their playstyles too, and also maybe, but usually not the stage itself. The only stage again that I think affects Falcon, well, not just Fountain of Dreams, but FT too. But yeah, like I'll talk about like how certain playstyles are good and bad and strategies and all that. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, first I'll talk about Yoshi's story. Yeah, Yoshi's is a good close quarters stage. I mean, it's pretty obvious. You can get quick kills and all that. And a long time ago, this used to be like a definite counter pick, and it still kind of is for a lot of matchups. But really, if you're good at the close quarters game, then this really is a pretty good stage if you can play that way. Like you can get a lot of quick kills, and there's some like Randall tricks you can do, wall jump tricks. Recovery Randall, you can edge cancel Randall to be trickier. So if you're good at the close range like game, then this very might as well be one of your best stages. If you're not and you'd rather be more patient dash dance style, then this probably isn't the stage for you. But I'd say across the board in every matchup, depending on who you play, it could be like the best choice. It really depends. Depends on how good you are and how good your opponent is. Even if you play like say Sheik or Marth or Spacey. Alright, next I'll talk about Fountain of Dreams. And yeah, I really don't like the stage, but it could be. The reason why I don't like it is because these platforms they have a pretty bad way of stopping your aerials, and if you're like an aerial based Falcon, then you really have to pick your spots correctly. Like certain heights like knee or stomp will like be cancelled out if you do it wrong. But if you're like good at edge canceling and knowing how to use aerials with correct heights, edge canceling and seal drops and all of that, then you can sometimes turn parts of the stage into like an advantage state. But generally speaking, I think the cons are like pretty bad to be like an actual counter pick from you. But if you know how to play on it, then you can make the stage not too bad. It still kind of hurts aerial based Falcons, except for when the platform's like this middle height. It's more for grounded Falcons really. Watch the way Wizzy plays it, and he'll just like tech chase and not like do too many aerials. I'm like an aerial base Falcon, so I really don't prefer this stage, but I learned how to play on it. And if you go to my past VOD, you can learn more about some strats, more in depth. So yeah, don't like the stage, but you can work with it. Next, I'll talk about Stadium. All right, I actually really like Stadium, and I think Falcon's like perfect for it as a whole. Like this neutral stage is like amazing. First of all, like this platform's like the battlefield height. You can use, you know, easy tech chases on platforms on the ground. And like FD, the platforms can like save you from just being like almost dying from like getting opened up. And the transformations too. If you know how to play on them, you know, they can be pretty decent as well. Like straight up. Waiting for the stage to transform, but I'll show you guys. The thing about the stage though is it can backfire if say like you're playing like a campier person, good defensive player, and you lose the lead. And after like neutral stage, they can just like camp you out and make you, if you really want to fight on their terms, and you have like a bad transformation, then you know, it can really backfire and hurt you. So when you play like a campy floaty, for example, you got to be ready to play very long games, especially if you lose the lead. Okay, water stage is pretty nice as a whole, but you got to be mindful of like these ramps. So you're tech chasing the fox here, like the ramps can kind of make it trickier. There's a windmill. It's the windmill. These two platforms here. Pretty simple tech chasing on that one. You can full hop and like knee for like the second one, or be creative with it. But yeah, personally, I like the rock stage because you know, my style is being good in like the close range skirmishes, and the rock stage is really built for that. And there's a lot of outs for like escaping when you're getting hit, because you can like tech the walls and stuff. So yeah, Stadium, I'd say it's like a slight gamble, but you can, if you learn how to play on transformations well, then it can really be a great pick. And especially if your opponent, a lot of people hate the transformations. Sometimes the characters are just bad on it, like say Samus. So I love picking this stage, say like in a best of 5 when I have like an extra match to lose. Because sometimes the stage can just screw you over, and you don't like this. It sucks when it happens, like say like the last game, game 5. I love it in like say you're up 2-0 and you lose a match and you counter pick the stage across the board. Rock stage, you can side B, cancels. Knee stomp a lot in the pit, jab reset them. So if you really know how to play on the rock stage, then you know, you can really turn the tides on the stage. Sometimes it's like you're recovering, you're supposed to be screwed, and the rock just pops up and it saves your ass. So yeah, I love the rock stage. I think me and the Norlock boys, Mango, Joey, Alex, we all like playing the rock stage too. So Stadium, if you don't like it, understandable. Not everyone's like a transformation guy. I personally love it. I like the fact that you gotta change your strategy when the stage dynamics change. And really hoping for like fire and yeah, the fire stage, another one's to pop up, so I can talk about them. Sometimes they just never come. Sometimes you never get the stage you want. You only get the bad ones. Just waiting. Which one is this? Grass? Grass is an interesting one too. So again, there's like these small dips. They're not as bad as say fire or water. This tree platform is something that a lot of people screw up on, but it's just a small platform that's like an easy tech chase, really. You don't want to ever miss opportunities to combo off of it. Pretty straightforward. 2 mid platforms. So yeah, if you're like a fan of are good at like tech chase on platforms, this part ain't so bad. Grass stage. Pretty alright for Falcon as a whole. Hopefully I get fire stage. That's the one people usually hate the most, and I really want to talk about like how to play on it correctly, strats wise. So yeah, just waiting. I guess I can kind of go into it like fire stage. There's the burning tree. I'll mostly talk about the right side of the stage, because left side is kind of the campy part that no one really prefers to fight on. Right side of the stage is like the tree. Kind of like the rock stage, you can like side B it and cancel it. A lot of people prefer teching towards the tree. Alright, fuck this. I'm gonna try to reset it. So you gotta be wary of like people attacking the tree and counter-attacking. All the pros are ready. There's also a big dip in this stage. So if you're tech chasing, you gotta be ready to adjust based on the dips. Like, that's the thing about Stadium, like you can't play on it normally. You really gotta be mindful of the small changes. And if you can do that, then you know, you can make the fire stage not so bad. And if you can plan every transformation, then Stadium is all around a decent pick, at least. I love it personally. Fun stage. Alright, fuck the fire stage. Hopefully the exclamation is good enough. Battlefield. Most balanced stage in the game, probably. Kind of favors good shield droppers, but everyone is good at shield dropping in 2019. And yeah, just overall the stage boundaries are good. What's kind of cool about it is there's no walls to ride, so if you're fighting spacies, it kind of limits the recovery by a bit. You can't just like do some crazy angle, especially as Fox. You can't just like ride the wall. They have to go like either drop really low for the sweet spot, or you gotta do like a tricky high angle, or they're forced to like travel above the stage. So Battlefield, I think on paper most people would agree that it's probably the best against spacies for that reason. There's no wall to ride, so you know, kind of gives the recovery a tiny bit. And besides that, pretty viable stage across the board. Is it always the best pick though? I am inclined to say probably yes against spacies, but not necessarily against other people, especially once again playstyles matter. Do you want to like pick a stage that they're very comfortable on, or do you want to pick another stage that appeals to your strengths and hurts your opponents, like you know, Transformation Stadium, close range in Yoshi's, really big stage dynamics on like FD or Dreamland. So there's people who swear the game should only be played on Battlefield. If you want to just be a Battlefield counter picker, that's fine. It's really up to you. Okay, FD and Dreamland. Let's do FD. Alright, FD. It's a pretty polarizing stage based on the matchup and playstyle, perhaps the most. Stage just has no platform straight up, which is like, very self-apparent, but once you remove platforms, it becomes more about like what remains is just like punish game, neutral, edge guarding, and it's just like raw fundamentals really. So if you want to pick the stage, you gotta ask yourself like, how good is my punish game really? How good is my neutral punish in relation to how well they can like punish me? Because some matchups they chain grab you, can't escape the platforms. Falcon in particular can't really edge guard a great way. There's no because Falcon, he excels when he covers high, right? And his platforms he can like juke people with. On this stage, there's not really a whole lot you can do for mind games. Sometimes you can like do some gimmick like that, like wall jump, try to trick him. But going low is pretty bad across the board as Falcon. And going high is not great on this stage particularly. So yeah, it just becomes about, hey, am I a Wizrobe type that can like down throw and fuck people up more than they can fuck me up? Are my reads on point for tight chasing? Is my edge guards good? It's all about raw fundamentals usually. Some matchups aren't like skewed towards heavy punish for both people, but that's pretty like rare and far in between. Like usually against like some Marth and Sheik players, like FD is like a pretty decent stage that could favor you based on how you play. Or even against Spaceys, like Wizzy loves counterpicking Fox Falco here. He gets one opening, you can probably kill them. So pretty polarizing based on playstyle and all that. I am not a fan of it, but you gotta get used to playing on it. It's all about just the remaining fundamentals without platforms. And I think it's boring and lame, but Okay, Dreamland. Here's a stage that like people really liked for the longest time. It's like, oh, this is Falcon's best stage, no doubt. And for like a long time, when the people were still developing the meta, it probably was. Now it like could be, but it really depends on like playstyle, because not only is the stage big, like it kind of favors like campier people. Like these platform heights really allow for better platform camping. That Falcon is, still pretty good at combating. It's like worse for other characters on paper, but it's still like a thing. Like a Fox like abusing like full hop and platform camping is still pretty annoying, for an example. So the polar opposite would be like, Yoshi's. If you're like a close range fighter like me, you probably favor like Yoshi style of gameplay. You like taking the hits, CCing them, counterattacking. You're really good at the close range battles and making the most of like what happens. This one's kind of the opposite on usually. Like it's just people trying to hold center stage, camping. That's usually the meta in 2019 and probably 2020. Like it's just people not really going at it. So you usually got to be ready for playing like that style, like say against like a Sheik, a Marth, most Foxes nowadays even. Some Falcos, like West Balls for example, is really good at like playing on the stage. He just plays position, and he's really good at comboing in spite of the higher platforms. So maybe like a long time ago, best stage on paper. Now it's really, it depends on what you're good at and what your opponent's good at. Personally, I just don't like. I'd rather have like a Yoshi's style of play. Maybe it's like the Mango style where it's like close range battles and all that. It's like less you know, waiting out your opponent and all that. Some characters though, like it's legitimately a pretty decent stage, like Marth. You can live forever, keep up being high, trick on the platforms. Sometimes you live to like 200% plus. Marth still dies to like a knee at like 90. But some Marths, again, they're really good with a lot of space. Like some Marths are really slippery. They have like a 10 out of 10 dash dance game. So they actually would do better on Dreamland than say like Yoshi's in close quarters. So drawing back to my original point in the beginning of the video, it's really all about playstyles as opposed to like the stage is always good against this character, and that's what basically the point I'm trying to make. And hopefully this video helped you guys out thinking about what's the best, you know, stage to counter pick or strike in the beginning. You know, it really depends. Anyways, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed.